The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackast. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We're three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
We came in with a lot of energy last time, but it's a sad, somber day.
It is not a sad, somber day. Cut the shit. What are you talking about?
It is.
Yeah.
How?
Why is it
How
sad?
is it
Long
a
live
sad,
the
somber
Queen of
day?
England.
Oh,
Pay respect.
Chris, you got to be careful. So we're recording this the day that the Queen of England died.
I didn't even know that
you may
till
have
right
heard
now.
of
This
her?
is breaking news for me. I'm not even.
Oh, is
I'm
that
not
true?
even shitting you.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so funny because I'm in the chat group with English guys, and I had memes sent to me like hours before she died. Like, this is how fast the internet is these days. They like prepare these memes, which is actually sad, but it's funny because that's not funny, but a lot of my buddies are pretty upset right now. Long live the
All
Queen
right.
of England. And why should I be
Understandable.
careful, Mikey?
No, I'm going to say you should be careful because I didn't realize how seriously. I mean, okay, I know this is a really big deal, but the group of friends that you're talking about, Chris, are some of the most vile, vulgar people I've ever, in the best way possible. I fucking love them in the best way. They say shit that you could not say. I don't know what it is about UK sensibilities, whatever. Who knows?
Right.
But they say some of the worst shit I've ever heard. I retweeted a video of the Undertaker just like coming up and strangling someone, and it was like when Meghan Markle goes to pay her respects to the Queen or something. It was really funny. And Rob, I guess people know his name
That's
now.
the funny thing.
You mean Bob?
He's like, yo, you better show some respect.
Blubber.
I'm like, the shit that I've heard you say all of a sudden.
Sir Robert Green from England.
Yes.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
he lives in never mind. I'm not going to put that out
Chris.
there.
Don't do that. Yeah.
But whatever. No, but the funny thing is like you're saying, these guys say the worst shit of all time, and they are broken up about this right now.
hey, guys.
And
guys.
Mikey, to his credit, that meme was extremely racist.
It was very racist. That's right.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
right. Bad day for the Queen of England, but pretty good day for
Oh, hell yeah.
Princess
Okay, let's turn it up, boys.
Princess Diana. No, what's her name? What's the princess's name? Someone help
Queen
me.
Elizabeth,
Prince Harry.
huh?
Prince Harry.
Oh,
Who goes into her place?
Isn't
See,
it
I know
King?
nothing about British
Yeah, I don't know.
politics.
I don't
Sorry, UK.
I don't have a clue.
You don't know
We
who
just
goes
lost
in?
our listener base
You don't
out there.
either
I think
because
we
you're
should.
looking it up on your phone right now. I
Yeah.
can see you.
We're clearly not very respectful for this situation. Maybe we should just have a moment of silence. Mikey, please insert
Let's
a
do
moment
it.
of silence right here for the Queen of England.
God save our queen.
There's nothing silent about that, Chris.
No, I'm singing the God Save Our Queen national
Also, that was
anthem.
way off key. I mean, you got to work on that, buddy.
Well,
We were
okay,
singing that
whatever.
shit back in grade school. You should know how that goes before they, cut us out of their piece of the pie over there.
Let's
There was
say
a time.
This, let's say this before moving on. No disrespect to the Queen or anyone who was broken up by the Queen. It is a big deal. I was just pointing out the fact. We're just pointing out the fact that that's how much the Queen means to these people. We can move on and have some laughs now. Not at the expense of yes.
We talk about like pooping and puking on each other and making dick jokes on this podcast. So if you're offended and you're listening to Jackass and you're like, wow, I'm so offended by this. I mean, you're probably in the wrong place for one.
That could be.
And number two, Chris is on the show. So like, I might be making an ass of myself now, but I guarantee you in the next 20 minutes, he's going to say something worse. So
Guys, if anybody understands British culture, I said we're taking punts and rating stunts.
Yeah.
That is a nod to British culture. So
Didn't you say sucking cunts and smoking blunts? I couldn't
I don't
remember.
even
I just
know.
remember it ended in unt. I don't know.
I thought I said raping cunts and no, never mind. I'm not
I
gonna
told
go there.
it has.
Shit.
So Jay, you're right. He just did it.
I was
He
right.
just did it.
See, exactly.
Whatever, man. I am who I
All
am.
right. Well, speaking of pooping on each other and puking on each other, when we left you last time in part 1 of Jackass, wow.
Well, I might not have a phone anymore, please. I might not be able to see my notes.
That was a phone?
Yeah, I thought that was a water bottle or something.
Oh, that's scary. Oh, wow.
How's
Fucking
your
otter
screen?
boxes, man. God bless them.
All right. Yeah.
Back to you, Jay.
My train of thought is destroyed. No, Bam Margera in a porta potty, getting
we
pushed
left off.
over. That's where we left you. That's where we left you. And the pranks and the hijinks behind the scenes on Jackass 2 don't stop there, because next we've got the cattle prod trick. This is great because it's basically just everyone fucking with Tremaine. He is the director, after all. He's going to have his attention focused more than anyone else on the set, so he is the prime target. They've got the cattle prod out, and it's cattle prod behind the ear, and it's not long after Tremaine gets it that everyone's kind of like, you know what? You know what would be fun? The cattle prod was great and all, but what if we pissed on him? So the next thing you get is a shot of Knoxville apologizing as he's accidentally pissing on Jeff Tremaine. I mean, the guy apologized. He's got good manners, all right? Leave him alone.
He's, you know, there's the saying, it's like, beg for better to ask for better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. Like, Johnny's kind of cheating the system by asking for forgiveness while he's doing the act. It's like he's not even waiting for it to simmer in at all. This whole premise of like this segment, and you know, I like this about the 0.5 movies because they kind of have reasons for each segment. And the reason for this segment is to basically say there were so many hijinks on set that Jeff Tremaine couldn't do his job. He couldn't direct the movie. And then that's why you get the onset of all the pranks against Jeff Tremaine. And this whole time I kept thinking, do you remember in Jackass 4.5 when Jeff said, in all earnesty, he said, I don't think people on set like to see me get hurt or see me get pranked. They kind of don't want to see that. And Johnny,
you think that was earnest?
It was.
I think he was playing into it.
No, because Johnny looks at him, the way Johnny replies, he's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I think they were playing a bit.
Maybe. I didn't think so, but it's possible. It's possible.
He was pulling a Chris on the Haggard episode. That's exactly
Haggard.
what that was. Yeah,
I loved Haggard. All the fans know. You guys keep trying to drag my name through the gutter. I'm reading the comments.
Hey, all I gotta ask.
Whatever.
What's better though, guys, than a crab on a C-clamp? Keep in mind, the C-clamp hurts like a bitch. I don't think the crab's doing much, but I like that it's there for comedic effect. They're getting everybody, though. Back of the arm, like, just any body part with soft, fleshy skin, they'll get you. I love some of the reactions here. It's the same every time. It's a short scream followed by laughter by everybody, except
everyone.
Except for, exactly, you knew exactly where I was going. Who's the big baby here, Mikey?
It's Preston Lacey, who
sorry, buddy, we love you though.
Look,
for real.
He's clearly like in this scene. It's fresh off of him on atop a porta potty, and
this was day one of porta potty for sure.
Absolutely, day one of porta potty. Go back and listen to our last episode if you have any questions about what the fuck that means. But he was miserable, and you can tell he's so numb emotionally that he doesn't even feel the clamp on his arm. Everyone else is like yelping, and except for Ryan Dunn. Actually, Ryan Dunn takes it like a boss. He just kind of looks at it and just like shrugs it off like it's no big deal. Ryan Dunn does the kind of thing where, like, you know, in those movies where there's a sword fight and someone stabs the other guy with the sword, and then the person grabs them by the shoulder and pulls them closer to like headbutt him. Like,
there you go.
That's
Yeah,
what Ryan Dunn did. It was the fucking most badass thing I've ever seen.
But what was better is when Preston's walking away and he's like, "I'm fucking done."
Yes,
like in the most earnest voice, "I'm fucking done."
I'm done.
He walks away pouting, still in full King Kong makeup. Again, he transformed. This is the second time he transformed, or maybe the first time he transformed into King Kong, because he basically might have been walked away belting his chest because he was so angry and so earnest about how much he was done, trying to be serious, walking away with that. Like, come on.
You can't ever be that mad when you're dressed up like a gorilla in your underwear.
100%.
It's just, that's the kind of shit where you react. And then you think like, okay, I made my point. And then you look down at yourself and you're like, fuck, I'm still in my underwear, aren't I? And everyone's like, yeah, Preston, you're still in your underwear. Like, we can't take you seriously right now. I'm sorry.
You know, he walked away from that after it calmed down and just started either being like, it depends on the type of personality you are. For me, I get really fucking mad and do some stupid shit. And as long as people allow me to walk away.
Sometimes you do stupid shit without even being mad.
That's very true. But when I am mad, it can get really aggressive and I say some really dumb shit, and then I walk away and I beat myself up after. Mm-hmm. Instantaneously, once I calm down, I'm like, pretty quickly, I'm like, fuck, that was bad. And I either laugh about it or I'm embarrassed about it. But most of the times you laugh about it. And I don't know what type of person Preston is there, but I'm hoping he was the guy that just started pissing himself laughing.
I don't think so.
Realizing
it's all right.
I think back to the eggnog challenge, and he literally went off set, and they had to go try to find him somewhere, right? Like they had to, you know, some people beat themselves.
Maybe he went into the forest and he dug a hole and went and sat in the hole until someone came and found him. You know,
wait, what?
You don't remember that episode of Seinfeld where they got that one friend who You know, and they got the van out there. Go watch that episode.
I thought there
was
a Jackass stunt that I missed or something like that. No.
Nah. All I could say, guys, I hope they had some bananas on set. He deserved one after
He deserved
that.
one. Absolutely.
Yeah. But hey, special guest DJ Paul says,
DJ Paul, man,
never fall asleep on the set of Jackass. Don't do it. And guys, he's right though, and we've talked about this before. The stunts and the pain are one thing, but almost nothing is worse than being really fucking tired, hungover, whatever it is, and just not being able to get in
for sure. 3-6 Mafia is drinking that scissor, and he's passed the fuck out. There's no way
you're gonna have to explain just about every word you just said to us, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is a drug addict? Come
Not
on.
yet. Hey, I got lots of life
So
left to
lean
live.
is codeine, promethazine. It's a big drug. That's all the rappers. It's made all the good music of the last little while, which a lot of people say wasn't good music. Whatever, fuck you all. But yeah, it's basically prescription cough syrup, and it's basically liquid heroin in essence, but at a very mild form.
Okay.
And that's the thing. You drink it, and he was in a fucking pure dope fiend lean sleep. Like, he was passed the fuck out. Like, that's why when SteveO, which Jay's better analogist, will explain.
Analogist, yes.
You know what I mean.
So what you mean when, are you talking about when they wake him up from the nap that they're having?
Yes, exactly.
So he's just asleep in I don't know, some public place, maybe like a bus station or something. I don't really remember, hotel lobby, something like that. Doesn't he come up behind him and just smash cymbals or something like that? I'm having a hard time remembering.
That's exactly what it is. And when he wakes up, he just looks, is in this complete other world, and just goes back to sleep. Like, he kind of mumbles some random gibberish and goes right back to sleep. That is not so. If you're drunk, you wake up, you might start swinging, you might talk some shit. That is a pure codeine sleep, and he just goes back to sleep. And that to me was the funniest part about it, because he's just like,
you knew what was going on.
Are you not wondering why this crazy loud noise just happened above your head? Like, you're just sitting there, just passed out, and you pop up. Like, your adrenaline should kick in and tell you it's fight or flight mode. His mode was sleep mode. He's going back into the fucking codeine dreams.
He's going straight back. He's not in a mode. He booted up his computer in safe mode. Like, there's no reaction to what's going on there. It's funny. Preston has the look on his face because it is Preston who bangs the trash cans behind him, I think, right? And Preston bangs the trash cans. And usually when you do something, they're in a lobby, they're in public, and you think you do the thing, you get a reaction from the person, you get a reaction from the crew, and that excuses you for having done the thing. The best way to prank someone who's trying to prank you is to not react. And now all of a sudden everyone's looking at Preston like, dude, what the fuck are you? Stop banging trash cans together. This is a hotel lobby. And Preston looks so embarrassed about that.
It's one of those ideas you get and you think, oh man, this is going to be great. But you're so blind to the idea, you're so sold on it, that until you've done the thing and then the embarrassment sets in, you realize, God, why didn't I realize how stupid that was sooner? But it's still
like starting a podcast, for example.
Yeah, exactly, 100% like that. Yeah. But this leads into one of the highlight pranks here. And Mikey, you talked about this on part 1 of our analysis, where they do a really good job in this film of taking you through a little bit of interview, and then they kind of have some interstitials that'll bleed right into the next main segment. They did that well here with another behind the scenes prank of Wee Man pissing into a water gun, proceeding to hide into a cooler that they've dug a hole underneath so he can actually get in there and close the lid and just wait for people to show up and grab a beer, which I love the setup. It's super simple. This works so well. And I was just thinking, how soon are these guys going to find out that it's piss, right? And one of the guys, I believe he says it tastes like Captain Morgan. So
yes,
he didn't know what was going on.
The thing is, Jay, it isn't simple, and that's what I love about it. If you look closely, Wee Man is not just in a regular cooler.
No, they dug a fucking
hole.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah,
but that's what's it's so elaborate. Like, someone on set, I always think about that stuff. Anytime you're watching a movie and they're panning across a household photos of a character, and they've got family photos together and stuff like that, someone had to actually Photoshop those photos of the actors together as children. Someone has to do that. And
Are you high again right now, Mikey?
If only.
That's a high thought if I've ever heard one.
No, but it's true. They do. I don't know.
I'm sure it's very true. It's just no one that's not high ever thinks about something like that. Like every photo on the wall, you just don't think they're just in the house naturally.
No, of
someone's
course not.
planning all this shit.
I'm high on lean right now, Chris, and as they say,
send some of this away.
And they no, but like someone has to do all that stuff. Someone has to dress the set every time there's a table and something on the table. Like someone has to do that. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. So someone on set got tasked with fucking going out to Home Depot, buying a brand new cooler, a saw, most likely cutting a hole in the saw and then digging a fucking hole just so a little person can squirt piss on everyone who wants to go grab a beer off set. Like, this is a dream job. That is a dream job if I ever heard one.
Yeah, that's a pretty big stretch saying just so. That is a pretty big, amazing. That's what I just wrote down, the purity of Wee Man jumping out of a cooler or being hidden in a cooler, spraying people with pee. Like, to me, that is just, it's so simple. It's pure. It's pure in Jackass's like greatest form. You have
100%.
Wee Man in a mini cooler spraying people with pee.
It is.
And he's hitting fucking the guys from 3-6 Mafia too, which I always love when it's the same thing with the Shaq thing that I love so much. Like, who in the world, other than Wee Man, has the fucking balls to smash piss over fucking Shaq or 3-6 Mafia or whoever the fuck the people are, other than the people in the cast? And I love that.
That's a good point.
If you're going to get down with the boys, you got to be willing to get some pee on you.
No matter who you are, if you're on set, you're liable to get pranked, except maybe Mike Judge, which we'll get into in, I think, the last stunt in Jackass 2.5. We can talk about that one later.
Oh my God, so good.
Celebrity guest, Mike Judge, creator of Hank Hill and all of your favorites. Beavis and Butthead, go watch the new movie. That's no one ever thought we'd get that. That was cool.
I do want to see it. I do want to see it. Oh, no, Chris says no.
Chris didn't like it?
No. I love Beavis and Butthead, but it's
dumb fun. But what, you're a connoisseur. You think the older stuff's better.
It's Beavis and Butthead is a timepiece. It doesn't exist outside of that time. And if you try and force it to me, I'd rather just let the legacy live on personally.
I get that. I get that.
Fair enough. All right. No worries. Well, the legacy of this pissing in a super soaker shall live on, and hopefully they don't try to like do it again with what's his name? That guy we all fucking hate, Machine Gun Kelly or something, and just fucking ruin it for everyone.
You know what they should do instead next
Unless
time?
he's getting pissed on, then I'm fine with it.
And this is a shout out for Jay. Instead of having Wee Man in the cooler, dig a bigger hole and have Mr. Shit on Command, fucking Dave England, do diarrhea squirts on people as they're coming into the cooler. That would be something special.
Yeah, you need to take a big shower after that one. Ugh. So, I love when Ryan Dunn gets a hold of the super soaker though, because he does get some revenge. He figures out it's piss and he grabs it and he gets it. I felt a little bad for Wee Man, but I mean, he had it coming though. He had it coming. He was getting everybody.
To me, when you're involved in this, a prank is a prank.
You just got to take it.
This just became a physical battle at that point. It's like, appreciate the joke, get him back in a different way. Don't manhandle him and spray him in the face with the thing. To me,
and call him little guy.
You guys did say that Jackass was a...
I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
You guys did say in the last episode, though, that Jackass was a give and take, that when you get pranked, it's up to you to decide when to prank back. I think Dunn just said, fuck it, I'm getting you back right now. That's how I read it.
Well, that's exactly what he did, but get him back in a different way on a different prank.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's just like, I'm too mad to handle the comedy of the situation and not be creative enough to come up with a new outlet. That kind of bugged me a little bit how Dunn did that, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Fair enough. This next stunt, though, like, for something that should be obvious, I'm laughing even now just thinking about it, that Bam, like his face, I can still picture his face when they do this one. This is an inflatable raft that they had packed into his Lambo, that expensive fucking Lamborghini that he's got. And the idea was Knoxville would get in the passenger seat, like, hey, hop in, we're going to go, get some beer or whatever. He hops in first and then the raft goes off. But this thing's got enough force when it self-inflates that... Number one, Knoxville, like, trying to climb out of there, screaming with his leg caught underneath and, like, clawing his way out is a good visual. But then afterwards, just seeing Bam standing there, realizing that, holy shit, this thing is cracking my windshield. Didn't think that one through. But
it's almost,
what'd you guys think of this?
The problem with this one, maybe one of the most expensive stunts in Jackass 2, but
in a way, yeah,
they didn't film it very well. You know what I mean? It felt like the affect, okay, you know how we talk about the one of the ones we always bring up when it comes to this is the hockey checks. There's the episode in season 3 where Johnny Knoxville's getting checked on ice, like he's getting hit in hockey. And we always say it's like that one probably hurt the most. But one of the reasons why it didn't work that well is because it didn't look like it hurt. This one probably hurt Bam a lot. He got pranked, and Bam hates getting pranked. B, his Lambo got fucked with, and he loves his cars. C, it's super expensive, and it is a big set piece stunt, but it didn't have a boom to it. The car was probably
if the fucking top ripped off or something, or the windshields popped, it'd be a different story.
They
This
needed
is just
that was his idea.
of those things in there. Like they needed a little bit more. Yeah.
And the problem is the damage with that happening was almost probably worse than the windshields popping out. Like it probably cost so much, and Bam's calculating the numbers in his head. But like you said, the payoff was just, there was no pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was his idea, though, if you go and listen to what he says afterwards.
Yeah.
Which I think sells it even more, that he didn't think that it was going to be as bad as it was. He didn't think it through. That's what I love about it. It's just like, again, one of those ideas that you think is going to be so great in the moment until you've done it and you're like, oh, fuck, and you're just sitting there shaking your head.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's short and sweet, and you're right, Mikey. It could have been filmed a little bit better. You don't get... I would have liked to see more of the reaction from Knoxville in some way. Even it was obviously hard for them to capture it, but what do you do? This next one, however, man,
I loved this one, man. I loved this one so much.
All I could say is, like, this is the kind of thing that I could envision going out with my buddies when I was a teenager and being like, let's go to the golf course and do this shit. This is the human golf tee. And basically, Ryan Dunn is the tee, by the way. He's going to lay down in his tidy whities. And as Knoxville puts it, I'm going to bang one out of your ass. Yeah, they're on the driving range, and they're going to tee off and see what happens. And man, like, just that first shot, like, of course, whoever's doing the drive here does not give a shit about actually hitting this ball, because they get him right, like it like scoops under his cheeks and kind of goes up.
It's almost
it's a rough.
It's like Knoxville meant to hit him in the gooch,
for sure,
or in the taint. The thing I'm most surprised of is that I'm surprised the ball went anywhere. I thought ball and tee together were going to shoot up into Ryan Dunn and maybe come out of his mouth. Like, he hit it so hard. I'm surprised it didn't just go straight through him. This one looked so fucking painful.
For me, the first thing I thought about seeing this was the movie The Mask.
Chris,
do you remember that scene with Nicholas?
100%. I remember that.
I've not watched that movie in years. I still remember Nicholas's name for some reason from specifically that golf thing. And when he hits the guy and just cuts the corner of his lip, I'm like, I don't like this shit. That part freaked me out.
Yeah.
And especially as it goes on, when it comes to the thing where they get the person to go through it and they're lining it up for Bam. And I'm thinking in my head, Bam has his head popped up. Like, he's looking to see what's happening. If that trajectory goes down, if this guy hits a fucking duffer,
yes,
that's popping him right in the fucking head.
So just to preface for the audience, too, we are now talking about the tee. They ask a guy who's at the driving range, hey, can you tee one off my friend? He's going to put it in his teeth, basically. So
that's fucking, it's nuts. I can't believe this happened. The funniest part about it is, like, yeah, they go to this random ass stranger on the driving range, and he says, oh, you want me? Yeah, I'll try. Like, he's been waiting for them to ask him to do this. Like, he was, I think this was the moment that he never thought would come to him, and he finally had. Like, he just answered it so coolly that I was like, okay. You know what it reminded me of?
Did he say you want me, or did he say, do you have a tall tee?
Yeah, you got a long tee, he says.
A long tee, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got a long tee?
Yeah, either way,
try.
yeah.
As long as you got that, I'm good. But yeah, no regard for human safety.
If you were sitting in a situation and someone you didn't know asked you to do that, would you have the balls to go up there and take that shot?
No, I wouldn't. Not a chance.
Not a chance. I wouldn't at all. I wouldn't want to hurt someone like that. This guy was game.
He was so ready for it. He didn't even hesitate at all. And it got me thinking that, like, this moment in his life is like his like, it's part of his loop, as though he's living through a Groundhog Day, and he just shows up to this driving range every time and he's mastered the shot, like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. Like, there's no other way he could be this calm, cool, and collected when someone asks you to hit a ball out of their fucking teeth like that. It was absolutely nuts. Good on him, because he nailed it.
It wasn't in his teeth. It was in his nuts.
Oh, right. Sorry, in his nuts. And it almost hit him in the.
But even this follow through, when you take a shot, when I have someone even near my backswing, I'm so cautious. I'm so worried about cranking back and hitting them. And then the forward swing, if Bam's sitting there with his head up, I'm worried about, like, you don't know what's forward. You never have anybody standing in front of you. So, like, everything about this is so sketchy. This guy is just, I don't know, like you said, he must have been in Groundhog Day, done this scenario 100 times, knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, he's done this. He's done this every day for the last 1,000 days because he's just been reliving this moment. He hasn't perfected his day yet, but he has prevented someone from choking in a restaurant. He's smashed his alarm clock several times. And one day he'll actually make it through.
Got to give the guy a little credit, though, because he nails it. He does nail it. No damage done.
The trajectory is different. You're used to hitting it off of the tee, which is down at that level. Now you have a human body, which is another half foot, plus the tall tee. So you have to choke up. Like, how do you know how much you need to choke up on that fucking swing?
This
guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, golf is a very precise sport.
Yeah. Some golfers will be able to do that, like guys who can do trick shots, but this guy's clearly one of those guys. And it makes me wonder if they found him in the fucking pro shop and then asked him to come out and stage that or something. Because, like,
maybe
it's a dangerous thing to ask someone.
Oh, 100%. And I like that he didn't think too hard about it, though, either. When he stood up, like, he probably only takes like 2 seconds to get in a position, and then he's swinging. Like, he's not standing there for 10 seconds, palm sweaty. He just says, fuck it, I'm either going to hit you or I'm going to hit the ball. It's up to you now,
The last thing you want to see is buddy taking a practice swing. You know when you take that practice swing with your driver and you fucking just chunk out a divot? You're like, ooh, that's not a fucking good swing.
I'll get it on the next one. I'll get it on the next one.
You should have done it as a joke right before, to be honest. Just fucking clunk that divot out. You're like,
yeah, totally, man. But I love this next thing. We've talked about this before on the podcast. Trying to hit the dude in the red ball collector cart. We've talked about it, but I got to ask you guys right now, would you tee off against your hero? And I know you guys look up and admire this man, Chris Pontius, as he's running around in his underwear with Wee Man out on the range. Would you take a swing?
Yeah, well, you know what? With a target as big as his fucking hog out there, I feel like I would hit it no matter what, every shot. You know, it's like you're fucking, you know, you're punching for a fucking... terrible analogy. Can't think of anything. But you know what I'm trying to get my point across.
He's got a big dick.
He's got a big dick. I'm going to hit it. You know?
We know now. Well done.
Someone's going to clip that, and that's going to sound so...
No, that's the perfect clip, actually. Like, I don't think there's been a better one on the
show. I just wanted to let that one stew for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Ironically,
Chris, you went out looking for gold and you found it, my friend.
You found it.
I was practicing my stand-up. Yeah, I was practicing my bits before this.
Strangely, the only person's nuts who get hit is Wee Man, and it is a perfect shot. It is a perfect shot. It was the most satisfying thing I've ever seen.
Oh, man.
Well, we've all seen Forever, so to be fair, he's got a big dick, too.
Yeah, true. So, it's all me, man. It's all me.
BDLG, big dick little guy, you know?
So, Chris, speaking of big dicks, I think at this next part, you might have got a little bit of a, you're welcome. You might have got a big hard on as well. I'm not even going to try to turn that around in any way. It's fine. You can take that one. But I think this next part gave you a little bit of a hard on because Knoxville starts talking about Russia and one thing, one little word, because it is one word, correct? One word, WildBoyz. That probably just set you off. And tell me, like, when they started talking about, hey, we have a bunch of shit we filmed that was WildBoyz themed, what was your reaction?
I got super excited. Very, very excited because there's no one wilder than the WildBoyz. And I don't know how many times I need to say this on this podcast, but I'll say it again and again and again. And I love these WildBoy bits. And it's so nice to see the recognition from Tremaine, who's saying himself, when they were doing the show WildBoyz, they shot some of the best bits they've ever shot.
Right.
And to me, that's the truth. You know, when we did our WildBoyz episodes, it didn't hit the way that I thought it would. The Viva La Band ones did fantastic. People love those.
Yeah.
But for me, WildBoyz is my favorite compilation of all time. Mm-hmm. So I know you wanted me to make a joke, but I had to get serious.
No,
Yeah.
we'll keep going with WildBoyz as well.
I'm into it.
I think the longer they went with WildBoyz, the better WildBoyz became. I think they got used to how to shoot offsite in different countries, what to look for. Season 1 was more of a proof of concept there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But it is
like that with a
worth
lot of
noting
things.
that, you know, they filmed a bunch of shit for WildBoyz in this, and Jeff Tremaine talks about it, but they barely used anything because WildBoyz is so much its own thing. And that's curious because Viva La Bam is close enough to Jackass that they can use Bam fucking with Phil and Ape in Jackass movies and TV shows, but they can't use WildBoyz stuff in Jackass TV and movies because it's so much different. And I think that's a testament to how much different and how good WildBoyz actually is.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. It stands on its own. And we are going to talk about some of those, you know, hardcore WildBoyz stunts in just a moment. But before we do, Knoxville tells us a little tale while they were filming the WildBoyz stuff that took place in Russia when they went for what he calls a Russian prostate exam. So they walk into this
random Russian like sex museum.
Yeah. It is just a dingy basement looking. Like, I'm sure these doctors don't have diplomas hanging on the wall or whatever you want.
The first thing I thought of when I saw this was, and I need to ask Mike, I didn't want to say anything until then because I'm trying to remember this properly. Do you remember, Mikey, when we were in some country in Europe and we found this S&M museum? It was like some bondage museum.
No, it was a torture museum.
It was a torture museum.
Yes.
And they had a guest book at the end of it. And
I
we
tell the
signed
story
my
all
dad's
the fucking
name.
time.
And we're like, I just want to be tortured like this. Someone please hit me up. Da 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 da.
And we
can't
gave
remember
his
the exact
real
details.
email address.
Oh, did we? Okay, that's what I thought we did, but I didn't want to make this up for the
We were
thing.
in. Oh man, I almost don't even want to say it because on the off chance someone goes and flips through this book.
It's still there. Yeah.
He is,
Still in there.
that book, that was like 5 years ago. They
That
would
was
have
a
new
long
book
time
by
ago.
now.
It was in. I'll say this. It was somewhere in Tuscany, and there was a torture museum.
That sounds magical.
Where it is now. I
Somewhere.
remember.
in
remember?
Tuscany.
And the line was looking for someone to do something like this to me. Signed his name, gave his real email address.
I forgot about that until I saw this fucking scene and it just popped into my head. And in my mind, I'm like, did we actually do it as much as I
We
remembered
did.
it?
It's as bad as we remember.
Do
It's
you,
as
do you
bad as
guys
we
know
remember.
if he ever ended up getting any emails or?
Well, he
didn't
did.
tell
He
us.
did go back to Tuscany randomly without our family for a little while.
True. Oh my God.
Oh man, they walk into this basement though, and there's like this. All I could think of is it's a Pap Chair. You know, you got ladies, you got to go get a Pap Schmear. You know, you got to sit in there and you put your legs in the stirrups and they push you apart and there you go. But Knoxville, he rides the chair reverse cowgirl here. He goes on his knees, bending over, and I love this part where they have to have an argument because there's one female nurse and two male doctors there, and of course Knoxville assumes it's going to be the female, like that's what he wants. But here you go, you got one of the doctors with his finger in the air as if he has a question to ask. Except what's that on his finger? A strange, oily, clear substance.
Bunch
Looks
of
like
KY,
lube to me,
Johnny.
boys.
Yeah, it's not
I
fair.
think
They
he's
pulled
ready
the old
to go.
Texas switches, Johnny said.
Now,
Texas
Knoxville does say, well, I thought it was the nurse, and the other doctor replies with, only the doctor can do the massage of the prostate. Only the doctor can do it. And I just love the expression on this doctor waiting there with his finger in the air with the lube on it.
It was so
just standing
good.
there waiting for this to resolve.
Just like stark still sitting there, like just the most like stoic Russian look on his face in the entire world, just sitting there, lube, like taking it all seriously, like, this is what I went to. Well, that's German. Let's pretend he's German because I don't know if I can do a Russian accent. This is what I went to medical school for. And he's just like sitting there, just like dripping, and the look on his face, like just poker face, like trying not to show any
100%
reaction.
poker face.
But here's what, like, this whole segment, I was so confused by, because what is this place? Like, why is it here? What do you do there? Is the whole point of this place so that you can go through and get real medical examinations done to you, but feel sexual about it while doing it?
No,
What then-
it's like fighting between, like, people don't realize. I don't think a lot of people realize there's serious anti-gay laws in Russia. So by putting things on as a medical front, people can get their fix.
Well,
that's genuinely what I think it is.
Okay.
Like, it's
That's
like,
what
I
I
want to
just said.
experiment this.
That's what I just said. Somewhere where you go get actual, literally that's what I just said. Somewhere where you go get actual, you just stopped me before I finished, where you get actual medical things
Just
done,
like Johnny.
then you can feel sexual about it, because you also do you have the woman there, you have the guys there, of course. They also have the place where they collect your cum and then do the tests on it, but it's clearly a sexual area. Like, it's just live your
I think
fantasies.
they just
but in
added
this
that extra
sterile
stuff for the
environment.
camera because they knew there was a camera involved and they need to protect themselves against Putin.
And maybe, they were under new ownership, they were moving into the rental. They hadn't
Thanks,
cleaned
Jay.
up the,
How,
the
by the way,
move-in day hadn't happened yet.
they
but-
take this thing seriously enough to say no one can stick a finger in ass unless they're a registered doctor. How old was the other? Was he 13 years old? He was so young. That was the most uncomfortable thing about this. He was like maybe a teenager.
It was bring your son to work day. So
You know what? The best part about this whole thing is like you said, Mike, you described it perfectly. Stoic face, hanging there. They're all making jokes, the Texas switch, et cetera, Johnny squirming, which, to be honest, in this time frame, this was a really ballsy move from Johnny and the Jackass crew to do, because even like talking about at that time, honestly, like getting a finger in your ass for a prostate massage, like nobody would talk about it. This was like big time weird shit at that time of like when this was filmed, right?
In Russia or in general?
No, just in the world in general. Like, people were like very hesitant about prostate massages. 100%, man. Look at the time frame.
It's like 2002, 2003, something like that.
Yes, that's the heart of it. That's when hip hop, like, trust me, that's when I was in high school.
But Chris, your little microcosm of high school was like, this was already a time when people were talking about, like, yes, it was joked about, like, oh, finger in the bum, but like it wasn't like a stigma. It wasn't.
No, it was not cool at that time.
They already would have done the Ryan Dunn would have already shoved the car up his butt at that point.
I understand that, and that was a huge deal. This is like a year or two after the fact. This isn't that much for.
No, that's what I mean, and that's like, so if this is it.
But here's the difference. That was a prank with a condom in a car. This is a man sticking his fingers in another man's butt for no other reason but quote unquote
for science. Yeah,
exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a lot different. But I to not get in the argument about that, the best part about this is you're saying this guy is like so straight faced and doing serious. He makes a comment after it's done.
I love that.
Sorry, it was a little loose in there for me, or whatever he said.
That's good though. That means he's healthy.
That came from this fucking guy who looked like the biggest Poindexter, serious, like professional guy ever, and he makes that joke. Fucking relieves all tension in the air, and I absolutely love that moment. Of it.
Yeah, relieves so much tension that he could have fit 2 fingers up there.
I thought he had to.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's go donate some sperm. Yep. Knoxville's gonna go, and I feel like we've seen this before.
Right?
Jackass TV season 2 or 3, something like that. I love that they all follow the nurse who's showing this is the room where you'll be jacking off. The whole crew tries to go in there with Knoxville as soon as the doors open. No invite. They're just like assuming that, yeah, of course we'll be in here with you, Johnny. You need the support.
Okay, I'll try.
The thing is, the door is paper thin, and I love how Knoxville describes this as being a difficult pickle to be in, where you're trying to produce the jizz that they need for testing when you have everyone quietly listening outside the door, and quietly listening they are. What happens next with the little prank we get here? Poor Rick Cossack.
Well, yeah, Johnny comes out with with his water and his cup in his hand, saying "Be careful, be careful, be careful," and spills it right on Rick Cossack. I don't know, honestly, like this whole segment, I'm trying to like make light of it and make it funny and stuff. This was, to me, this whole sex museum thing was like the definite low point of Jackass 2.5. And it's clear they were trying to like just pull something out of it, try to make something funny with it. And it just didn't work. And then I'm like, man, as a museum piece of saying like, look, sometimes we go on these big adventures and we try to find something and we don't find anything. I like it. But watching it, I was just kind of like, okay, let's get to the next one. And I rarely find myself feeling that way in a Jackass
I just
movie.
think you're forgetting about what time was like in that era. Like, it's a while ago. This was a big fucking deal back then. That's what I was trying to stress before.
Everything they've done, this is what, like, yes, I get it. It's a guy's finger in a guy's butt, whatever. But Johnny Knoxville had already had the colonoscopy. Ryan Dunn had already had the car in his butt. We've already seen the butt chug We've already seen the butt chug was in Jackass 2. And we've already seen the spermathon or the spermathon. All this stuff has kind of already been done, and you can tell they're just kind of like trying to find something new with it. And I was like, okay, guys, like, let's move on. And it's not funny that it's not in there for the same reasons that like Dizzy Boxing or Beauty and the Beast aren't in there. This is just kind of like, hey, this one's in there because nothing quite hit. It was weird. It was uncomfortable. Nothing was really that funny. And then I'm like, well, that's true. That's why I didn't love this segment.
You didn't think it was funny how he threw it on Cossack, especially being Cossack was involved in the original spermathon. So he's seen sperm in cups before. He's been involved. He believes that's a thing. So in his mind, the last possible thing is the fact that he just filled it up with water. You know, like they've been there, done that, and he fucking loses his shit, which I thought was a fucking the reaction alone made it worthwhile.
That was definitely the best part. That was definitely the best part of this. Yeah, I agree. It's always nice to see them get under the skin of Rick Cossack, and it would suck. It would suck so much to be the kind of person that people want to get under the skin of because you give good reactions, because people would just constantly be needling you.
Well, speaking of a good reaction, the Rick Boogie Woogie song.
Oh, before you get there, you guys skipped over the big lesson of this whole thing. The whole reason we came here today was for science. And what did we learn? We learned that you can produce sperm with a softie. Thank you, Johnny Knoxville. Check mark for science.
Check mark for science.
You are correct though. If you beat your boogie woogie, if you beat your Ricky and do the boogie woogie on your Ricky long enough, it might. I don't know where that's going, but you're right. There is a good song
somewhere,
here.
Jay. Maybe you should just going somewhere good.
Maybe you should just cover this up. This little stumble I just did with Ricky does the boogie woogie. If we have the clip. Could we play the clip, Mikey? Is that?
Oh yeah, the clip's going.
Can we make that magic happen?
He met Ricky Wiki in the spring of '69. He loved to dance the boogie woogie, and he'd boogie woogie fine. Now it's 1987. He's a little bit older. He's traded his Camaro for a Crimson Dodge Cavalier. He'd boogie woogie all night. Boogie.
It'll be playing under the whole thing as we're doing this.
Beautiful. That's
like the whole episode. The whole episode is going to have Ricky does the boogie woogie on loop playing underneath it. I'm going to dial our vocals down to like -6, and Ricky does the boogie woogie. It's just going to be like I'm getting rid of the high level. We're all just pumping the stereos. People are going to be driving down the streets listening to this, and then cycling off to the Party Boy theme song.
Pumping the stereos. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Did you guys notice what Pontius was using to sing this song?
A guitar?
Yeah, but which guitar?
Is it a special guitar?
Yeah, it's the same metal guitar from 2 weeks ago in the Cribs episode.
Okay.
Yeah. His like super. It's funny because you mentioned Jay in the last episode when SteveO is giving the interviews. Yeah. He's doing it from his crib, and it honestly looked like where Pontius was singing these songs was like the same lookout that he's saying. I let my mustache do the talking from, which is great.
It's like, oh, so you do live there? Holy shit! All right, not just a bit. SteveO gets a condom. Bitten out of his ass by a rattlesnake here. Now we're into the WildBoyz territory. This is the rattlesnake salad toss is what they've officially called it. I love that. The condom is blown up like a balloon and just hanging out of his ass. They've got some real volume in that thing. And
it's definitely not one of SteveO's branded condoms. We know that couldn't have been inflated.
Couldn't have been. But he is so riled up and just like does not want to do this. And I can't blame him because like moments before they show the venom coming out of this thing. You know how they press the venom out to try to get a good shot out in case he gets bitten.
Yeah, I'd be like, show me again, show me the venom again. They press more out. I'm like, show me more. Just get all the venom out. You know what? I would take that snake and squeeze it like a fucking toothpaste tube, like from the bottom.
Good idea. I was just thinking that. That's perfect.
I wish I could do that if I couldn't touch a snake.
So I love his reaction though. They're holding him by the arms and he's kind of like he's presenting the condom to this angry rattlesnake. And he says, because it's so important to get a rattlesnake to bite the end of my butt. Like he's just pissed off. He does not want to be here. That thing pops when it strikes and SteveO's just gone. It's like someone shot a gun. He's just straight out of the chamber, out into the woods, and it's like
it's like the explosion of the balloon actually sent him flying into it was an airbag. I think the most important thing about this one is, and I know I want to get your opinion on it, Chris, because snakes are involved, and you're the resident snake expert here. Most important question about that, Greco for sure. David Weathers versus Manny. Who are you taking?
100% Manny.
100% Manny. Jay?
100% Manny.
I'm gonna go Team Manny because peer pressure.
Peer pressure for sure. I honestly get a little upset when I see David Weathers. I don't know why. I don't know why. He just rubs me the wrong way.
I do
want
too.
Manny.
He fucking likes snakes for a living.
Well, yeah.
It says that on his business card, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
His
Manny
business
fucking
card.
dies with hammerhead sharks. He's fucking swimming around, riding on. Manny lives in the water, first of all. Manny's like, remember sea monkeys?
Yes.
Totally do.
Do you remember like the pictures of them where they're holding that like trident? Manny makes those fucking things, right? You know, Manny is like a fucking real life sea monkey.
I thought you were going to say that, Manny is the picture of a sea monkey.
He's the king, but that's the thing. He's the king. He's
Yes.
holding his trident. He is the king sea monkey.
Meanwhile, David Weathers is handing out like
He
construction
fucking holds
paper
noodles
cut
for a
out
fucking living. Ooh, it's a fucking noodle. It's a fucking snake. Fuck you. And you too, Joey Greco.
So we got
Thanks for commenting on our post today, by the way. You're a good fan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, keep that going.
we got Chris Pontius here about to get some color for those of you who are smart to these things, smart to the business. You know what's up. He's about to get some color because a snapping turtle is about to bite him right on the nose. This looks like it hurts like a fucking bitch. Pontius was not happy that this did not make it into 2.5. I think the pain level was so high that he felt it was justified, but sorry, Pontius.
How about that, eh? How about that? They show Pontius after this. Essentially, he just gets a snapping turtle straight to the fucking nose, which, by the way, I think the whole world, you know how Shark Week did to sharks, like they kind of like first made them super scary and now they're saying like, hey, sharks aren't all that bad. Someone needs to do that for snapping turtles because the world is so fucking afraid of snapping turtles. Everyone I know is like, they can bite your finger. They can't bite your fucking finger off. They're so scared of humans and everyone's like, they're so aggressive. They're this, they're that. It bit his nose and it definitely would have hurt. Don't get me wrong. It's going to hurt like a bitch. But it's not. It doesn't bite his nose off. It doesn't pull a penguin on Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman. Like it's just kind
That's
of like
a really good fucking point.
Right. It's of course it can't bite through bone. If it can't bite cartilage off, it's not going to bite your finger.
Except
off.
the alligator snapping turtle. Those guys are motherfuckers.
Wasn't that an alligator snapping turtle?
No, that's a little. Well, it was a baby, if anything. The real ones, man. Those motherfuckers are. I see. You're going to be the good guy. I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to be the. Who's the guy that made Jaws? James Cameron.
No,
Steven
that's
Spielberg.
Yeah, I'll be the Steven Spielberg here. Snapping turtles, especially alligators, they will take your fucking dick off. Watch out. And they fucking look for dicks.
That's what we learned in the song My Dingaling. Yeah.
I ain't scared of a snapping turtle.
That's
fucking
a good point,
mail me a snapping turtle. I'll fuck him up.
But yeah, so after taking the snapping turtle to the nose, he bleeds and it looks bad, but this is one of the few moments where Pontius like breaks his fun-loving character. Like he just sang Ricky Does the Boogie Woogie and smiled and laughed like a giddy little snowman the whole way through. And now he looks in the camera and he's like, wait, did that even make the movie? It didn't. It fucking did. And he just completely turns about face. He's like so mad about it. And that's not the last time we see Pontius really upset in this movie.
We've learned in like one of the passings we've done, like, we look at Pontius as this happy-go-lucky, always there. He tried to stab Danger Aaron apparently multiple times. Apparently, the buddy's got a temper a little bit, and you start seeing little glimpses of it from here and there, which is kind
especially in India when Aaron has his stunt to do with Pontius on set. The last thing I want to say about this one with the snapping turtle, the guy on set with them, T-Nigs, we don't want to know how you got your name. Stay out of our business.
It sounds racist.
It sounds
I didn't want to say his name. I didn't put it in my notes because I just didn't want to say it for some reason.
Yeah, I think we all felt that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Mikey clearly wasn't too scared to go and say it, so he took one for the team.
Well, I said the guy's name. I mean,
you said the guy's name.
Yeah,
it's not a good name though. I'm with you on that. It's
what was his name?
Yeah, work on that. Workshop that one a little bit, Mr. T over there.
What was his name again, Mikey? Every time Mikey says it, his mustache just starts shaving a little bit from each side. He's getting a little bit fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Just falling out from the sides.
Wow. That's... You know what you say? Like you said earlier, Jay, you're like, what did you say? I was the king of the metaphors or some shit like that.
No,
or visual.
I've been distracted this whole episode because I still don't know what Chris was trying to say at the beginning there. He's like, you're the king of analogus.
Yeah, something like that.
Analogies, good boys.
But even then,
I'm just saying that takes a lot of creative
about.
thought to come up with what you just came up with. So
That's true.
Mikey's rubbing off on me. I'm getting wittier and faster, as the time goes.
So Jeff wanted to go to India. That's why we got 20 little people together. And guys, we all know I know I say this a lot on the podcast. I don't see color. It's a non-issue for me. So when I see 20,
you can tell the difference between Tyler the Creator and other buddy.
That's why it was such an issue. I just can't see color. I don't discriminate in that way. It's a hard. It gets me into trouble sometimes. But I fun loving Jay over here. Listen. When you get 20 little people together. When you saw that guy's
name, I'm surprised you weren't like, yo, Shaq's back on set.
We're talking about color here, Mikey. Colors and the English language are two very different things.
Right, right.
But when you get 20 little people together and they're all painted blue with orange wigs running through the streets, it makes for a good visual following Wee Man as he skates down the road.
Guys, you know what? This happened before and you guys were saying this was all fake.
It was all
We
fake.
saw this on WildBoyz.
It wasn't.
About? It's all very fake. Clear. Because when Wee Man's talking about this, he's like, I've never actually partooken in something with so many little people around.
No, what I said was fake was the set piece of the people around them, not the fact that little people were in the sketch with him. I thought the reactions
I think this proves that it was actually real and they actually had all these people and they used random people.
Maybe.
What?
I don't know.
Why? Like, I think by them saying, why would they hire a whole bunch of people and Wee Man actually being pumped on it?
Oh, okay. So you think the debate is like they brought like 20 people they hired in Hollywood or some shit and brought them with, or as opposed to
no, Mikey was just saying
went
the whole
on
thing
location.
And I think this was real. I thought the reactions from the other people were real as well. And you could tell by how Wee Man's talking about it. It seems like this was a genuine cool moment for him.
Well, Wee Man's talking about this as though it is a cool moment. And he is. I actually really liked him talking about it. He seemed very proud. He's like, I've never worked with 20 or 30 little people on set at the same time. That's really neat. My thing is, I think that the reactions of the people in India when all the Oompa Loompas run by was fake, and that's primarily because, and yes, they were Oompa Loompas. What else am I going to call them? They're Oompa Loompas. If it walks like an Oompa Loompa and runs like an Oompa Loompa, it is an Oompa Loompa. The fact is they ran by, and this is going back all the way to Jackass 2. And all the people are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then they just immediately stop and like go back and talk. No, like it was very clearly staged. That was very clearly staged.
Okay, fair enough. This next one, though, as we continue our little trip, our WildBoyz trip through India, the Fingernail Man, and I swear we talked about this guy a few weeks on the podcast. So there we go again for timing. Boys, if growing your fingernails really long was the WWF, this is the world heavyweight champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin, about to open a couple Steve Weisers, and SteveO's going to be at the bottom of that waterfall. And this was just a really bad fucking idea all around. Number one, this gross. Fingernail Man, he seems like a very serious fellow. Like he's very, I don't think he laughs a lot. And for some reason they decided it was a great idea to get a couple ladies to come and watch the event in the back here. And the whole time, Steve was writhing in the fetal position, nearly puking, gagging as the beer runs down these curly fries into his mouth. And it is quite a visual, but at the end of it, there is just a stank in that room. Like everybody's ashamed of what just happened, including Fingernail Man, who's like, the money was good, but was it worth it?
Was it worth it?
I can't take this back now.
You couldn't pay me, never mind the money, you couldn't pay me enough to go near that guy's nails. They're the grossest things on this planet. But I think there's a serious case to be made that this stunt is the reason why other countries hate the United States of America. Because imagine not having any context for what Jackass is. And all of a sudden, this white dude just walks in, drinks beer off of the long nails dude, starts throwing up. Everyone's laughing. They would think that we're fucking barbarians. Like, that is so far from it looks like anything they've ever seen before. They just the looks on the faces of the women who are watching this. It's like they just have no baseline for it, no reference for it. And they're like, how fucking dare you come and impose this on us? One of them runs away and vomits. That was hilarious. I love my vomit. This was just chaos. I actually I get why it wasn't in the movie because it's still very WildBoyz, but I would have been okay with this being in the movie just because of the reaction of the other people in there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I thought where you're going with that was to say that the world hates America because they're making fun of like cultures. And I'm like, I don't think anybody else in India gives a fuck about some guy, one weirdo that wants to grow his nails for a fucking...
No, it's not that at all.
You explained that a lot better. That's why if you were watching me, I had this look on my face like, the fuck are you talking about? No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, exactly. The disgust is at the Americans, not the...
Yeah, it's like, who wants to do something like this, you sick fuck?
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Like, we're fucking barbarian. It's like the way in like a show about like ancient Rome or Greece or something, they're just like, the barbarians are eating their young and children and dancing under the moonlight. God, we got to stop them. It's like, that's what they think Americans are now. Do you think they picture like in America, we're just all drinking beer off each other's fingernails or something like that? And the reason we went there was because we're like, we hear the best fucking fingernails are from this dude in India. We got to go there.
Oh my god!
The sacred fingernails of the Indian man.
Exactly.
Look, actually, you know what? I think I have a better analogy for fingernail man after this took place and what he was feeling. You know what it is, guys. It's someone just went through his internet search history and found out that he's been rubbing it out to pedicure fetish videos, and he's just been fingered, and he's dirty and ashamed of himself now that the secret is out.
Yes,
That's the vibe here.
He looks like he'll never be able to stare his family in the eyes again. His family in the eyes.
Even weirder than that is, I fucking guarantee you, there is a person in the world that has a fetish to get fingered by his fingernails.
100%.
That's
yeah, there's good probability. I
this
take
world
that
is
bet.
fucked, man. Fucking give us a great reset.
One of them is recording this podcast with us right now, Chris.
I don't know which one it was.
Who could it be? But you tell us at Jackass Pod. Maybe don't tell us. I don't know if we want to know that.
No.
Once you open that treasure trove, you've gone too far. Listen, guys.
There's a treasure trove to open, I think, on the other side of this. But
yes.
Maybe we leave the rest of India for next episode because we're starting off with a fucking banger of a stunt, and I can't wait to talk about that one.
You know what? Let's end this on a good note then. Boys, I wrote it in my notes right here, so this is perfect. I still have the Cossack Boogie Woogie stuck in my head at this point in time. Still enjoying that. And I hope you are too at home. This has been great. I'm glad that we're doing this. Again, as we already said, we missed doing Jackass stunts and Jackass-centric shit, so this is a real treat, and you better believe we've got more coming next week. Until we come back next week, I'd like to finish this off as we always do, because I did not fucking forget this time. MVP and LVP. Chris, take it away. Who you got for the MVP?
Again, you guys hit me first. The only times I don't know who I'm going to pick. Someone else go first. Let me just review my notes here for a second.
Yeah, MVP easy is the fucking Groundhog Day Bill Murray type who's sitting there on the driving range just waiting for a bunch of ragtag hooligans to ask them to hit golf balls off of their body. That guy is the fucking MVP, hands down.
All right, that's fair. Chris, do you want to jump in here?
Sure.
Or are you still thinking about it?
Apparently he doesn't.
No, I do. I'm going with I'm assuming his name is Vlad or Wojtek or whatever the hell other Russian name
God you
there
picked
is.
him. Yes.
For making the fucking simple joke of your ass is too loose and completely throwing everybody off the scene in that. That is MVP quality material for me.
That's good. I like that.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of having trouble with this one. I didn't really know which way I want to go, but I think this time, if I had to pick, let's go with, you know what? Let's go with SteveO on this one, and here's why I'm going SteveO on this one. He got a lot of airtime in this portion, which I liked, but there was something about seeing him do, again, like, we go back to the fingernails, him writhing and puking. That's like classic SteveO. Those noises, is it weird that the noise of a man gagging about to puke is like a trigger for, like, I could play back that sound in memory. It's recorded into the tape of my brain. Do you guys feel the same about that? Like,
it's
I can hear it now.
And it always makes me laugh. I always love it. It's I know Chris doesn't, but it's one of my, maybe that's why I love it so much.
So that is there for me. But then like the condom thing, I thought that was so, because like I think like I don't have as big of a fear of snakes as Chris does, but rattlesnakes in particular do get me. So there's been a couple times where I've encountered them out in BC before, and it like going face to face with one of those or being in the vicinity and hearing that rattle is like, just that alone is fucking terrifying. So I cannot imagine doing that stunt. And like, fuck, you got to give SteveO credit. He was terrified clearly, but he still did it. And that's what I love about him. He always commits to the hard shit and doesn't give up. So I liked seeing that today.
Definitely. LVP, I'll lead this off because I started as well. I gotta say the LVP of this one for me is the inflatable raft for not doing its fucking job. It had one job, and that was to explode a Lambo, and it failed. I'm not going to blame anyone but the raft. I like blaming inanimate objects for things. I do it all the time. Therefore, the raft gets my LVP.
See, it's weird. I have actually kind of two LVPs that can be combined into one.
Okay.
SteveO's condoms, but being worn by David
Megazord.
Weathers.
That would have been so fucking cool.
What?
I thought you were going to say Megazord. Two that could be combined into one? Fuck yeah.
SteveO's condoms, because they weren't even part of this stunt, being worn by David Weathers, because he's a slippery snake fucker.
I like that.
I thought that was good. Way better than apparently everybody else. But okay. All right, on to you, Jay.
Hey, I laughed. You got me from that.
That was a fake laugh.
Good. Well, it's got to be fake. You know.
You had a genuine laugh with me last episode when I made a comment about the patent thing. I'm like, has shot as seen as well, you know, like shot to par as well. And you had this genuine laugh there. And I was watching this before we recorded this, and it just gave me this motivation to like be extra funny today. And I fucking dropped the ball big time so far.
What are you talking about?
I just like, I think I was pushing jokes opposed to like really trying to land them. Cause like I was so proud that how much he laughed at that one joke. I'm like, I got him good at here. We'll take this therapy off air, but I do find things genuinely funny. My laugh, people always tell me my laugh sounds fake. No, I just know I know you're my brother. I know when you're fake laughing at me or happy laughing. He's either Cleveland. Jay, what's your LVP?
LVP is the makers of, you know, those little steel fingernail clippers that you carry around with you. Because there's no pair of clippers that you can make strong enough to cut those fingernails. However, bonus MVP to the makers of welding torches.
That's Dumb and Dumber style with the buffer.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, that guy at some point in his life, like, he didn't. Okay, I'm just assuming the guy's passed on by now. I don't know.
He hasn't, and he, as of a few years ago, actually trimmed his nails.
He did trim his nails. I want to know. Yeah. I want to know the story behind that. Like, what happened? How did they get those bad boys off?
Do you imagine how bad they would smell? Like, you know, when you get like if you've ever had toe fungus or anything, like you have big toe. Oh my god, those things are like.
It's not like he's cleaning those things every day. You can't imagine, you know. How would you? Like, how would you clean those things? I mean, if you had like a big tub full of 80% isopropyl alcohol or whatever, maybe you could just dip them in there and do like an end. You don't want
to at that point. Whoever's game for that's game for that. You're gonna get some tattooed girl with fucking sexy ass tattoos. That's probably all about it because she's fucking been through some shit.
I will say this: SteveO was right to choose an alcoholic beverage for that one though, because alcohol disinfects. Mm-hmm. So
that guy absolutely ended his day with a yeast infection. Though, if he put that straight back in the sack, all that yeast on there, 100%, he's ending his time with a yeast infection. Yeah, maybe that's why he had to cut his nails off.
Yeah, who's the tailor making the sacks?
It's a very good question.
Get his initials on there and shit. You know, make me a custom fingernail sack. Yeah,
one sack, please.
Tip top.
All right,
nailer.
Guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, send us a picture of your sack to @JackastPod. We'd love to see it. That's on Instagram, Twitter, you know, TikTok, wherever you frequent.
Unless your sack is a vagina or tits, please don't.
Send us whatever sack you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
Guys, we are skidding out of control here.
So
we're hitting a stall. But let's say this. Before you take us away, Jay, I've mentioned this Discord before, the Jackass Vault that I'm a member of. An awesome community there. I reached out to them and asked for some questions and comments on Jackass 2.5. That if you're listening to this and you wanted to hear whether or not any of your comments made the podcast, we're gonna include that in the next episode as kind of a recap because we cannot let this episode go on any longer. It seems like we're all tired. We're hitting a wall. We wouldn't want to do your questions a disservice, so we'll address those in the next one. But stay tuned.
Until next week, where we will continue this ride through Jackass 2.5. Goodbye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Goodbye. I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Goodbye. I'm Mikey Aaronworth. And this is NPR.
God save our gracious Queen. God save our noble Queen.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it.